They're there. And this is what happens with young cats, because brains are smaller, the penetration into the head is greater, and the exposure is, our kids is now a lifetime of exposure, not like us, which is the last 10 years. Big difference. Yes?
I met Clint over in 2000.
Yeah.
He was living in Ventura as well. And I was practicing chiropractic in Ojai.
Yeah.
And he came and he was very new to the concept of grounding at the time. And he was doing some experiments and had a voltmeter.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent about a year. He came and grounded about 30 of my patients' beds and showed me that when you're grounded, you go from several volts to a couple thousandths of a volt.
This is a subject that you and I could talk about offline, because it's there's some complexities surrounding that. I mean, I know Clint very well, and I worked with him on some of these things. And grounding your body at night, which is what this gentleman was talking about, is an important aspect of maintaining your health. But that would be like another lecture.
Yeah, I was just wondering why you didn't include that in the subject of getting rid of electric fields.
Well, because it doesn't get rid of electric fields.
Well, it does by the voltmeters.
Well, it does because that's the technical problem. A voltmeter won't work in the way you're using it to measure electric fields when you're grounding the body. So, we won't get into that now, but you're not measuring the real thing.
You're measuring inside the body.
No, you're not. The voltmeter is not reporting what's going on. So, but we could talk later. Let's say this. We don't have the time for that right now. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
So, what about this FCC radiation standard that we were talking about? So, it's ignoring these low energy effects on the cells. Proven now. These are there. There's 10,000 studies since this standard was set by the FCC in 1997. I guess 1997. 10,000 studies that show non-thermal effects. Peer-reviewed studies. And duplicated studies reviewed by people in the field. There are no problems with the way the study was done. These are the facts. And if you believe in science, this is the science. It's bad for us. The radiation is affecting the general population, and not just the South West. So, it's an issue for everybody, not just you. And the FCC, Bureau FCC, is a conflict of interest. They're selling, remember the frequency spectrum that we saw earlier? You sell little teeny portions of those to companies, cell phone companies, and you sell it for billions of dollars. And you get all this income, billions of dollars of income, hundreds of billions of dollars of income are flowing into the government through the FCC, and on top of that, they collect a 5% tax on every one of your cell phone bills. So this is hardly an arm's length type of relationship between the industry and the government. They looked at the standard in 2017. 10,000 studies said that this is a problem at non-thermal levels. Fine, no need to change anything. All right, general exposure standards. Here's what the government says. Our government says 10 million microwatts per square meter is fine, and then you can go down. And finally, the Russians studied microwave ovens in World War II. They said it at 10,000 a long time ago. Still too high, but a lot lower than that. And then certain cities, Salzburg went to 1,000. Neil Cherry in New Zealand was working with people who were sensitive to this stuff and wanted it to be less than 200. The bio-initial report is something you should look up online when you get a chance, because that's a definitive study. It came out in 2012, updated in 2014 and 2016, looked at 4,000 or more studies by a group of 30 scientists, doctors, engineers were part of this group, and nobody paid them to do this. They did it on their own. So they want to see less than 100 outside, so that it reduces what it gets in your house because of the walls and so forth. Building biology, we like to be less than 10. Linked to autism, greater than 5. Dr. Quinhart's patient never had a patient when we measured the house that had an autistic child, and that number was under 5. And then EHS sensitivity. This is electro hypersensitivity. So typical exposure levels before 5G, suburban homes, urban homes, laptop, if you're sitting next to your 24 inches from your laptop cover. Wireless router, this is before the move to be able to push that signal with one router throughout large houses, and now these routers are probably 100,000 microwatts in the same room with the router. Dead cordless base station, you want to be able to walk down the driveway, talk to them before these phones. Well, it all takes energy, and energy causes high levels of power in the atmosphere. And then finally, this is the entertainment system I talked about with your remote control, if you're controlling your pieces of your entertainment system, 6,000 microwatts at 28 inches. What the measurements were made with, the recognized meters by gigahertz solutions. So now we come to the freight train. The freight train is coming. We started off with 1G back in '81. That was generation. This is the first generation. Second generation, you notice we got phone calls and text. Third generation, text, and the internet now from our phones. 3G, then 4G, we began to add video. It takes a lot of data to have video transmitted through the air. And now we're getting unhappy with 4G because we're looking for the Internet of Things, where we can control everything in our environment from our phone. In our house, the power company can turn off your power, you don't pay the bill. All these things going on, it takes wireless devices and forcing this energy through the air, and that's what 5G is all about. 5G promises much faster download, lower latency, which is to say it moves faster in real time. Automation, self-driving cars. I just heard that Ford is going to update the software in their cars now through the internet, just like Tesla does now, so we get a software update without even knowing it. Smart cities, virtual reality, called the Internet of Everything, or Internet of Things. In Santa Barbara, these are 16 5G antennas now installed in various areas of Santa Barbara, and they're not done rolling it out, and you can see lots of holes in the coverage. The overview of the 5G, which is fifth generation system, it's multiple technologies, different between the various cell phone providers, being rolled out over a period of the next 10 years. It is going to be used to connect things as opposed to people. The previous systems were for us, for people to do things, but this is for, well, we'll find out what that's for. It's fast through the air. And if you want to confuse that with 5G on your, if you have a Wi-Fi system at home, and 5G shows up in your cell phone, that's 5 gigahertz, which is the frequency of the radiation in the air for the connection for your Wi-Fi. So nothing to do with the fifth generation cell phone system. But 5G for cell phones is very complicated, very expensive, very slow, comparatively speaking, and we'll see what that means in a minute, and very unnecessary for most of us, I think. How many people want to watch high definition video on their cell phone? I can never see my cell phone as digital, so probably not many of us really need to have this. There's a free public summary at the Billy College Institute if you're looking to see more about the technical issues surrounding this. Not too technical, but more technical than tonight. There's a nice booklet called Reinventing Wires, and why a wired internet system is the best way to go, both from the safety and performance and security standpoint. You can get a free download at electromagnetichealth.org. This is out of that book. Just take a look at this. This is how fast data can move, and these are the various technologies. This is 4G, right here. This is broadband through the air. This is 3G. You can see it was slower, and this is fiber optics to premises. Why in the world would you do any of this when you can have that? That's a really good question.
Because It's cheaper.
Cheaper for the companies, for
Cheaper
the
to do.
companies.
The capital investment is lower,
Yeah.
that's right. But that is not the only reason, so we'll move into that now. So, this 5G requires massive data movement through the air. That requires energy, bandwidth, and pollution, frankly. And in order to make this work, they gotta take the antennas off that tower, about a couple hundred feet high, probably a mile from you, and they have to move it onto your street in front of your house. Not only that, we have to move two types of antennas. We have to move a 5G antenna, which is this little square, almost a square, and they have to move the 4G antenna, which used to be on that pole far away from you. They have to put that on your street. Why? Because in order for the 5G signal, which is only going to be used for data, there's no talk, no text, no email going over 5G. 5G can be aimed, so you can, by electronically, you can put a beam over to my phone because I want to watch a video on it, and I call up that video, and the phone says to the 4G system, he wants the video, and it turns on the 5G antenna and it aims it right at me. In order for the company to know where my phone is, triangulate on it, be able to locate it within 50 feet, the antenna for 4G, this one up here, has got to be much closer than a mile or two away. Therefore, to make this work, we're going to have the 4G antenna. That antenna runs all the time, in all directions. The 5G antenna, well, if they sell a lot of these units and people are watching video, then this thing is shooting beams out all over the place. So it may be eventually like it was always on anyway. But interestingly enough, all the signals are fed to these antennas on your street soon by fiber optic cable. They don't transmit it through the air to get to the antenna, it's on fiber optic cable. They just blast the last 1,000 feet through the air. And an interesting thing is that this works perfectly good for stationary devices like your tabletop computer, but they can't get it to work reliably for a moving cell phone on 5G. And it's always reverting back to 4G, so it doesn't work. And they have to figure out how to make it work. Why are they doing this? Well, they're doing this because fees would be regulated if you ran the wire to your house, but if they run it through the air, they're not regulated. So what are they expecting to do? They expect $11 trillion in revenue from this system by 2025. That's all you guys are to these companies is revenue. Your data being sold and the money that they're going to collect from the system by having you pay more money. The 5G system is going to be a great deal more money than our existing phones are costing because, oh God, they got to put a cell phone antenna every 22 feet on every block in the country. All that energy. So that's the story of what's happening. What's their plan? Well, their plan is to roll this out really fast, and the FCC issued an order last year, 18-133. It fast tracks 4G, 5G deployment in neighborhoods. It overrides local control and places caps on leasing fees municipalities can charge for siting these antennas on your street. Many cities are fighting leasing fees, but they're not fighting the concept of these things going on your street because they can't. This law precludes your local municipality from interfering with the placement of these antennas. They're a rubber stamp. That's what it is. And the question is, what are we all going to do about this? It's being rammed down our throats. They're going to be collecting and selling data, your data, and what you're doing, to people who are interested in what you're up to. And they still haven't resolved the fact that you lose the signal to the mobile devices, which makes the whole thing useless to begin with. It could be all fiber optic. So, what are the issues for us? Issues are, this is difficult to shield, and expensive to shield, particularly the 4G antenna, which is always on, and we'll have a sample of what that looks like in a second. These are unprecedented levels. Remember I showed you the levels that we found before 5G? Well, the numbers are like 100 times higher than they were, what we're finding now. Incredible. 233 scientists, 40 countries are saying, hey, this is the wrong way to go. Big health problems coming with this. Even from the 5G, the bursts of energy from these 5G antennas as they transmit data to specific locations. Just let you read that. The human body does not like this sort of thing. So here in Sacramento, courtesy of air at noontime, is a measurement in a child's bedroom. This is the antenna, 60 feet away from the bedroom. It's the 4G antenna, the one that would be on all the time that they're moving. And this is what it looks like. This is a 24-hour, I think, the recording, and you can see, that the busiest time of the year, that we're, peaking out at around 50,000 microwatts per square meter, and, there's probably more uniformly, except at night, 250,000 microwatts per square meter. We try to put some meaning to what that is in a minute. Let's keep that number in mind. So there were immediate symptoms in that family. They had to retreat from the front of the house, cover the walls, the other bedrooms in the back of the house with foil, the doors, before they could feel well.
Would that be aluminum foil?
Hmm?
Would that be aluminum foil?
Yeah, aluminum foil. Aluminum foil works fine. 5G access. Verizon did a trial recently that showed that the 5G signal can go to 2,000 to 3,000 feet, 3/5 of a mile. So why do we need these things on our block? They think we're restricting these 5G and 4G to cell phone towers this far away from residential areas. And restrict 5G placements to commercial and the industrial area, which would make sense. If we can't stop it entirely, then restrict it like this. They're become an activist. You gotta do something about this. And my opinion about what you do is the city fathers have to get together with their municipal organization. They have these organizations where people meet part of the year and they talk about city business and what they're doing. They need to go to the Attorney General and demand that the Attorney General of the state of California sue the federal government. Only our state's got the resources to do that sort of thing, no municipality. And it's going to be a lot of people with hot feet that are going to cause this kind of thing to happen. It's the only way we're going to get this stuff in our neighborhoods. So you got to become an activist. This is 5G Free Santa Barbara. You want to get involved with them for Santa Barbara. Local officials are scared to death about being sued by a multi-billion-dollar corporation, of which there's probably 3 or 4 who are putting up their own antennas. So they can't take any action that's worthwhile. Case study on RF. This was 4 years ago. This was not 5G, but it just gives you an idea of what this is like. North side of Chicago, this was a home that had been converted, turned into a home from an industrial building, and it was between tall buildings on either side, and the mother had lethargy, headaches, depression, the dad had insomnia, the lawyer, he was losing clients because he couldn't function mentally in the law office. And when that happened, he finally told his wife, get Larry Gust in here, and this took him a year to get to that. The children, they had anger, volatility issues. The daughter couldn't memorize the 4 stanzas of poem from this. So, what did we find? 15 wireless routers in this 4-story building. What was it? It was a smart home for dumb people. So those were removed. It had these wonderful little mood lighting where your little computer dims all your lights. It's 5 o'clock. That dimming system all over your house generates noise that goes on your wiring and gets into the environment. Smart homes are just bad news. High outside RF affecting your living space. Remember that when you look out the front of that little building I showed you? Right across the street was a 15-story building with a school with antennas on top of it. And that was all like coming right into their house. And they had like 30,000 microwatts on the roof, 4,000 in the living room, 3,000 in the master bedroom. Fortunately, the kids were in the back, so they had much lower levels back of the house. So everybody had an RF tent, which is like mosquito netting, and you put it over your bed and it reduces that. The parents moved to the basement. The basement had a bedroom that was below grade, and the levels went from 3,000 to like 30 in the basement. So we were pretty grateful. And eventually they said, well, we're going to get out of Chicago, which I probably moved further north and bought a house in an area with about 30 microwatts outside. Everybody in Chicago on this and that. This is the health effects of RF radiation. I think Monica has a sign-up sheet outside. If you want to give us your email, we're happy to send these things to you where you can actually read them. This is meant to be part of the report. But there's all of these. This is the studies that were done and reported in the bioinitial report. At what level of radiation do you have irreversible fertility in mice after 5 generations? 10,000 microwatts per square meter. What do you get down here? Kids, 8, 17, headache, irritation, behavior, concentration difficulties. That's running about 30 microwatts. So these effects are happening down below 10 even. Significantly reduced sperm count. Why is infertility rampant today? Gene changes down here. Fatigue, depressive tendencies, sleeping disorder, concentration difficulties. So you might ask, why are we putting Wi-Fi in schools?
Yeah.
Why do we have cell phone towers sited next to schools? I measured them. They're in the thousands of microwatts in the school. Just from the cell towers, not to mention the Wi-Fi devices that they're putting into the classroom. Prudent avoidance. Fight 5G on the community and state level. Reduce your own usage of cell phones. The 2-minute rule. Things happen in your brain in 2 minutes. Stuff turns on, stuff you don't want happening. Use hand-free devices. Keep it away from your head. Use landlines for the majority of phone time rather, and you can call forward your cell phone to your landline. You can use your computer for texts. Keep your children off wireless devices. Their cells are dividing much more rapidly than yours, and problems are likely to occur from that rapid cell division. Get rid of deck telephones. Give them to your worst enemy. No, not joking. Just joking. They're not good for you. You need 40 telephones for the majority of your phone conversations. This is just like a kind of a weaker form of your cell phone. And you've got it against your head when you're using it. Hardwire your internet. Turn off the router. This is all possible. You can hardwire computers, laptops, desktops, pads. No wireless baby monitors, no Bluetooth devices. That means it's the ones you stick in your ear, mouse, keyboard. When you're sitting right there by your computer, you're talking 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 microwatts from these devices, the local radiation from these devices. Create a protective space for yourself, either an RF tent to reduce when you're sleeping, or shielding the walls. We'll talk about that later. You got to look out for RF transmitters in locations that are next door. The other side of the wall in your condo, people who've got a router in their house that's affecting you. Even if you shut yours off, you can't fix theirs. RF transmitters in entertainment equipment, DirecTV and Dish TV, these are all coming through, whether you use it or not, pulsing RF. remote control, wireless security cameras, they're very popular. Huge Wi-Fi signals on each one of those things going back to your router. So they have to be, can be, and they would have to be hardwired back to the router. Smart utility meters, transmitting the tenant on the side of the house, we talked about that. If you want to get into this sort of thing, there are some nice meters. There's a $180 type meter that has LEDs that can tell you the levels, what the radiation level is.
Yes, sir. I've got a question. A friend of mine in Alabama showed me some of them. Is that you can actually, I don't know how good they are, but you can actually get apps for your cell phone that measure the radiation. I didn't know cell phone could do that. What is your thoughts on that and some of these apps that are?
Well, they might be useful. I haven't had the opportunity to evaluate them, so I don't know.
Okay.
Where do you get these? Where do you get these?
Well, these, if you go to my website, you can click through the vendor, which is in Canada. These are developed in Canada and they're made in Canada and the United States. This is the Big Brother one here. That's what cell radiation sounds like. In this room, we're running about 70 or below 100 in here. If you get into the corner, it drops down to 30. It's very, very subject to location. And this has LEDs on the top. They're the same LEDs that are on this one. 180, I think this is 380. Which is a really great price for something that actually can accurately measure those. Take a look at the equipment that Monica and I use. There's about 5,000 bucks worth of equipment here. So you can get something that works well, a great deal less. There are other renditions of this by other manufacturers, like this. So it uses LEDs to tell you what the level is.
You said that's for cell phone?
That's only for cell phones.
Okay, what about the electric field and magnetic field?
Well, there was this Gauss-Master meter for $35 and less EMF.
That's for magnetic field.
That's for magnetic field. Electric fields, there's just not very many meters out there. I don't have one with me that would be similar to what you would use. I have one of a professional meter, which is like $2,000. Electric and magnetic, there's $138 or $200 version of this that you can get. If you go to my website, under equipment, you will find those meters there.
Question,
Yes?
which is more dangerous, the RF or the microwave to
Well, RF is microwave.
Oh, so it's the same? Because you said 1 meter measures that.
Well, this meter measures across a frequency range. And it covers up to 10 gigahertz, which is above what's happening today. And it goes down to 200 megahertz. So it covers AM radio, FM radio, and all of every type of radiation coming from wireless devices. So it all gets added together and your body doesn't care where it came from. It's all bad. It's all bad. How strong is it? That's what these will tell you, how strong it is. So, we're lucky. A year ago, we didn't have any of this stuff. Anything that was decent was $600, $700, $800, on and up. Here is the Gauss-Master meter for $35, or a more professional one with 3 axes. Magnetic fields, electric fields have directionality to them. So they can be oriented up and down, or back and forth, or in and out. And more expensive meters measure all directions at the same time and give you one figure for that. Cheaper meters are only one axis at a time, and in order to get an idea, you've got to go like this, and go like that, and go like this. And kind of get an idea, you kind of a little windage on that, but certainly will identify a problem in your house quite well with $35. These are this is the one axis, it's $238 for a Gauss voltmeter, Gauss electric field meter rather. So, and then this is that one I just showed you, which is much more money. Measure body voltage. You can measure body voltage using a multimeter. There's a kit here for $140 that gives you all the equipment to do that. And basically, you plant your child in bed, and they grab a hold of the cord going into the meter. The meter is connected to like an outlet or to the ground outside. You can get a reading for how much man-made voltage is on your body. Then you go to the circuit breaker panel, and you have a walking talking, so you can talk back and forth. You start turning breakers on and off until you find the ones that reduce the level as much as you can. Which usually be plenty good. It'll get way down. It could be 0, it could be 10, 30. But when you start out, you're going to have 2,000 millivolts or 2 volts AC, sometimes as high as 5 volts AC. So that's available as well. If you click through my site. Shielding, for no more questions on this, we should probably, it's a long sip. Shielding, we can shield magnetic fields, electric fields, and radio frequency fields. Magnetic fields are very difficult to shield because you can't, it's not like a bullet where you put up a piece of steel and it stops. You have to provide a piece of material between you and the magnetic field that the magnetic field likes better than air. And so the magnetic field goes into that material, and so there's less out here by you. And you can see that depends on the permeability, and you have to get higher permeability so you can see what kind of money we're talking about. Expensive material and how it's installed relative to where the field is makes it complicated to do, and the results are not always very satisfactory. But it can be used in some cases. Shielding electric fields, much easier. You can paint a wall with carbon paint, and then you can connect the wall to the earth outside. Then all the electric fields that are inside from the wiring inside the wall, they stop. They'll come into the room. And then you can use extension cords that have shielding in them. We can't get into this detail, but it's all quite doable. Interestingly enough, that is the same paint that you use to do RF shielding. So you can shield RF with aluminum foil. We just talked about that earlier. There's a house in Newport Beach that we were doing the entire ceilings and walls, outside walls with aluminum foil before the drywall went up. Yeah, before the drywall. Yeah.
A lot of insulation is back with some sort of coil with that.
It would be helpful, except the studs are still not covered. So there's, depending on the strength of the signal.
What happens when you go in with your cell phone or you shield it like that and the radiation leave, or you get trapped?
Well, yes, I mean, if you're trying to shield yourself in your bedroom, then it's not a good idea to use your cell phone in the bedroom. I mean, one way or the other.
So a radio won't work inside of that?
No, radio waves, FM and AM are much more difficult to shield. There's probably enough leakage that it will work. So you can also paint the walls, it's the same sort of thing, and then you ground them. These are pieces of tape that connect the wall together, and finally you do a connection between, not the electrical outlet, my particular recommendation, but to a separate rod that you put in the lake outside, because I don't like the electrical system. It's full of noise and voltages that you don't want to really distribute around your room. So you can do this kind of shielding between 10 megahertz and 18 gigahertz, which covers everything today. As long as the antenna is 10 feet away, which causes a bit of a problem with smart meters, because the smart meter is on the wall of your house, your bedroom. It's difficult to completely shield it. You should opt out. You have an opt-out in California. You can't get that everywhere. It costs you money, but it gets it off your house. And it gets the RF off the wires in your house, which impresses on your meter, impresses that on the wires. So the potential materials you can use, any kind of metal, and this is the percentage efficiency, foil, carbon paint. There's window films for windows that are older windows that don't have low-E glass is been developed to keep heat out of the building or keep heat in the building. It keeps RF up as well. There are fabrics that are made because that tent over the bed is made out of RF fabric. They're fairly effective. So we got to know where the sources are and how strong they are to design a good plan. RF is like water, it leaks through small openings. You know what happens if you have a blackout shade over your windows and it doesn't quite come up to the edges of the windows. You got light around the corner. Well, it lights up the whole room, doesn't it? That's visible RF, basically. That's what happens in RF. You don't get all the leaks.
Excuse me, question? Did you say the shielding net will be 100%?
Well, nothing's 100%. It's like 90. It's like 99. You're dealing with the fact that you got to overlap so you can get in, and there's a gap at the floor and stuff. But it's 99. Maybe it could be better depending on how good you do the job. Yeah.
A little bit off topic. I just wanted to ask you, based on your experience, sounds like you've been doing this for quite a while. To me, we're doing all these things to protect ourselves, but it almost feels like it's criminal or a tort action based on all the people that you met, like a child and bleeding, all these injuries. Have you experienced any people that have, actually taken this to court? Filing
It's been a wonder to me, considering what happened with tobacco, right?
Well, that's the thought that's been percolating in my mind.
And
It's very similar to
yeah, I had fully expected before this that they would, cell-phone manufacturers would be being sued. Don't ask me, I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to make the point, there's a lawyer in Australia that calls it assault by radiation, and he's building a legal case against it to get that, and that's what the legal tactic he's taking.
The FCC hasn't created an exemption for health effects way back, because they knew what was coming.
Well, you can't consider health effects, but that's not, because the Telecommunications Act of 1992, which is written by who? The cell phone industry, precludes that from being done. But that doesn't mean we can't sue to overturn that law.
Yeah.
Which is what, and that is, it's been attempted. There's an older man in Washington that's been doing this pro bono for 10 years. He's been trying to get in front of the Supreme Court. He hasn't been successful.
To this point, Google alone spends $20 million a year on lobbying. So they get, these things that they want.
Yeah, I mean, and do we have all of Santa Barbara here tonight? Oh, no. How many people are concerned? Everybody else is going about their business. Until we have a mass unrest over this, we're not going to get any action from the politicians.
But there is an initiative starting in this town to approach the local decision makers. And if you want to put your name, I wouldn't even bother reading this, but put your name on the back of this if you want to kind of get a hold of it.
So what organization do you represent?
None.
Oh.
I'm in touch with one person who's starting to meet with the legislators, and then I just heard from Kimmy about another person who's putting together. They don't even know each other yet.
So are you familiar with 5G free Santa Barbara?
Yeah. I was there at the first meeting, then I got very busy, but I'm going, we can't be very busy, we gotta do something. We can't be too busy to.
We need an organization that binds a lot of people together and gets them involved, for sure.
It's growing. It's growing.
It's growing, yeah.
I'm gonna pass this around, and if you wanna stay in touch, I mean, I know most do it here now, but if you put your name on here, you wanna stay in touch.
Question is that, right?
Yeah, email.
So in 2001, my building where I was in South School became a cell tower site for three antennas. So AT&T, where different antennas were located around town, I ended up covering some of them. The fire station, the fire chief had, leased their roof to a tower that was causing the firemen to become very ill and not be able to do their job. And so they pleaded to Nextel to be able to remove the antenna, and Nextel said, no way, it's irrevocable. And then 911 happened, and they said, okay, we're going to take it national, we are going to shame you national, and make a public national embarrassment of you. And Nextel then agreed to get them out of the lease. So it seems like we need to organize with other key organizations that are being impacted by this, such as first responders, you know, and they had a ton of literature that they gave me, they were very.
Well, when they got their thing, the
They-
towers weren't put on, they weren't put on the fire stations.
Right,
Yeah, so-
Right.
But no, I mean, it's all our organization, you can, you know, with all the money involved in this business, it's gonna take overwhelming objection by the population to, you know.
Did you say you had a list of where the towers are in Santa Barbara as well?
well, in 2001, yeah,
Oh,
AT&T gave me examples of different places, you know, over the hospital, over the rescue mission, all these different places. I went to field it because they assured me that there would be lawsuits up the kazoo if there was actually any physical harm from this, to go check them out, and being electromagnetically sensitive, I could feel how horrible they were.
There's an email.
It'd be great to have a list of
You,
towers.
so you wanna go to.
I saw the map. and it's-
You wanna go to antennasearch.com.
Oh,
You put in your address and it shows all the registered towers with informed on it.
What's
And
that?
AntennaSearch.com.
And the extent to which it can be harming to that, because.
No, it tells you what's on them.
Well, then I guess you have to know that, because I went and there's.
You're gonna find antennas everywhere because cell phones aren't the only thing. You know, the police have them, the fire department has it, private companies have communications with their vehicles, there's a huge number, water utility.
But it's useful to know how close you are, like, you know, there's one on the ARPA, two on the
Yeah,
ARPA
what they
station,
are.
Mission and State, right near my house, and I had no idea.
So if you drill down far enough in the data, you can find out these things.
One other last point I'm gonna make about our cell phones and 5G. I used to be in the military, and I remember years and years ago, they were always talking about this. 5G is sort of like a weapon, and it can be mechanized, believe it or not, through a cell phone. Because even when you turn your cell phone off, the battery's still in there. And the data of what the inner workings of the cell phone are, none of that's regulated. So even though you've turned your phone off, it could possibly pulsate once even, I mean, this is, once all this, if it ever does get set up, and it can literally kill people, meaning there's no control over what's in that phone, and it becomes so powerful that it gives somebody a heart
Well, the
attack. And this
military-
is very dangerous what they're doing.
Military's been developing crowd control devices which use the same frequencies that the future projected 5G system we're gonna use. I mean, it's like 10 billion cycles per second, 20 billion, 30 billion cycles per second. We're not there yet. We're using frequencies below 6 gigahertz, 6 billion cycles per second. It's getting late, so I think we need to move on and let people go home. But yeah, shielding, if you're gonna shield against this stuff, you don't wanna bring it into the room because the stuff that used to go out to the walls is being turned back onto you in the room. RF in schools, there is no acceptable way to have wireless in the school and have a healthy environment, period. There's no way to have a cell phone antenna next to the school and have a healthy environment. And so every child, and 20 kids in the classroom, each with a computer, each computer transmitting with about 3,000 microwatts and 24 lives, and they're all crammed together, and there's 20 of them. That's even a bigger deal than the router, which may come from another area. So it just won't work. You can't do it. And they used to be hardwired. They got rid of it. You have to force the schools to go back. So, okay, so this is information sources. I'm going to get Monica up here to complete this. These are places you can go for information. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, this is a PhD course in radiation. Is that, the presentation you gave tonight, is that on your website? Because
No, but
I can't write.
you can get a PDF of that if you leave us your email.
I would love to get one. Yeah.
Monica, yeah, we'll get it to you. So, there's how you contact us, and we're going to talk about the bio-initiative report and all the rest of these things. I mentioned the bio-initiative report, which came out in 12 and then 14 and 16. These are what these health tables look like. There's probably 10, 15 pages of those at increasing levels of strength of radiation. And then what was the study and who did it, what year? Peer reviewed. Only peer reviewed studies got in. And then we'll turn this over to Monica, because there was a pretty interesting thing that just took place last month.
Yes. Thank you, Larry. So last September, so this was a month ago, we had one of the more important events in the country. It was called the EMF conference for doctors. So the situation is getting so bad that people are showing up with different mysterious symptoms, and doctors don't know what to do with those patients. So there was a huge conference that happened. You will see, this is Dr. Sharon Goldberg who opened the conference. There were almost 400 doctors from all over the world to learn how to recognize the symptoms, to diagnose electrohypersensitivity that's related to EMF exposure, and then how to treat those patients, how to treat those conditions. It's a very important event. One of the scientists who presented on the subject was Magda Havas. She's from Canada. She's a professor emeritus from Trent University. And I borrowed this slide from her presentation. She speaks about electrohypersensitivity not being a new health disorder. This already was identified as neurasthenia in 1900s for women who were operators of the telephone system. They were exposed to electromagnetic radiation. And then it kept changing names until now it is called rapid aging syndrome. So this is what we are all facing right now. Electrohypersensitivity, we're talking about millions of people. Severe exposure is about 3% of world population. In Canada, that's about 1 million people. In EU, it's 22 million people. For moderate exposure, it's 35%. That means in Europe alone, that's 260 million people being identified as
So those are moderate symptoms?
Moderate symptoms, yes. So what about the asymptomatic ones? Well, it was said that we are all sensitive. However, some of us are hypersensitive. We are electric beings. We respond to any amount of electricity around our bodies at all times. So we're constantly interacting with the environment. And electrohypersensitivity is caused by oxidative stress. That comes from exposure to electromagnetic radiation. So you see all these different diseases that are related to oxidative stress. This is Wi-Fi map. In 2002, we had hardly any Wi-Fi sources around the world. Look what happened in 16 years. This is just Wi-Fi up there. This is just cell phones, right?
It doesn't include cell phones. It's just another layer.
So, this was, Larry spoke at 5G crisis, which happened in end of August, and there were quite a number of speakers who spoke about the 5G. So you can go, I will share the link where you can find it. One of the speakers was Dr. Martin Paul, who was a Washington State University professor, And he became multi-chemically sensitive and then heralded the research on the subject. And we will play a little video of Dr. Martin Paul speaking about neuropsychiatric effects of radiofrequency radiation. He identified 5 different areas that were crucial to our health in terms of EMF exposure, but this is particularly of interest, probably should be to all of you. So what he said is that based on exposures that we already have, my projection is that we have about 4 to 6 years until our collective brain function collapses. So we're all facing a collective brain crash. That's before 5G. Memory loss, anxiety, depression, and lack of sleep are an epidemic right now due to EMF exposures. Doctors are not allowed to speak about that as an epidemic publicly. So you won't hear that from a doctor. You don't see a doctor.
Would they be sued? Why are they not allowed?
I don't know. It's just not legal for them to speak about it as an epidemic.
Well, they can't tie it to EMF, right? They can't sue you.
They have to have the evidence.
Well, I'm confused. I thought 400 were attending this conference that it was talked about, where they talked about it.
It might not have been on
They're
the
learning to recognize the symptoms. This is the website where you can purchase the 5G Summit videos. There's quite a number of the interviews with top world experts on the subject, and it's a money well spent. There's also 5gawareness.com, where Josh Del Sol has a website with great information. The biggest news last week, I added that slide, Larry, after we spoke. Scientific American published an article about 5G last week.
But I want to say, I did this research too, and this was on blog. So in the magazine itself, they didn't have this. They had a pro 5G article like 3 months before this. So this is only on the blog. It did not reach all the readers.
Well, we have made our effort to let everybody know this article is out.
Yeah.
And so can you, if you can go, and this is Blog Scientific Americans. This is the, it's on Facebook, it's circulating quite widely.
Yes.
So we've shared, everybody who can share this article with your friends, please do so. Building Biology Institute, we're almost done, has a 5G fact sheet that's available online, free to download. It's a PDF. It explains all the technical side of it, and we also ask for donations if you feel moved to support this organization. We're both affiliated with, and we need support. So this is the current map of antennas in Santa Barbara and the area. And question is, what are you going to do to protect yourself and your home from 5G and from the onslaught of radiation that's coming from outside of your home?
So these are active 5G antennas right now?
They've been installed, yes.
Are they transmitting?
I believe so, right?
How do we know what streets they're on?
You have to go to the local activist group. It's 5gfreesantabarbara.wordpress.com, and this is what was published by that.
I want to ask for people, I want to ask something. I don't want to sound too terribly radical, but I just want to get a feel for what other people are thinking in the room. I mean, this stuff is actively going to kill us. The only thing that I'm thinking in my mind is, I mean, you think back to the Declaration of Independence, you think back to times when things get so bad that people sort of have to rise up and do things. I mean, it's not like we can just keep, these are active towers in our town that are like killing us. I mean, it's to the point where, what do? You tear them down? Do you?
Yeah, I know it sounds very radical and crazy, but I mean, it's like, there's a small group of people in this room, and sometimes you have to think outside the box.
I heard that's what
And
they
you can get
do.
arrested and organize and get out.
I heard that's what they tried to do to China, they tear them down, and so the companies back up and decided not to put them up.
You better hurry up.
In Brazil, they tore them down. They
You're
tore
right.
them down.
How about Mill Valley? Look at Mill Valley, something.
Yeah, Maria, they want.
Environmental.
We're almost done, if you could hold on for a second so we can finish the PowerPoint and then you can have a discussion. So Larry and I are here to help anyone who needs help with identifying the levels of RF and any other EMFs in your home. This is the way to do it. We have the equipment and we're specialists in the field. So you're welcome to contact us. This is what we do to protect citizens. And if you need us, you can call us. This is our contact information. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Here's the situation, because I was actually at a ringside seat of this. Back in the 1970s, nonetheless, NORAD Defense Command Headquarters in Thunder Bay that monitored what the Russians were sending the missiles over there, had all their open electronic equipment. They had a higher, 20% higher illness rates amongst the staff in those environments. The upshot, because I was living in Canada and part of the National Research Council, forums on that and consulted on that, and the situation is that it just, I don't know what it was, but the Americans just totally ignored the fact that they were, that environment was causing a higher illness rate. Sturlinska Institute, Björn Nordstrom in Sweden said, you can't have that, and if you go to the heavy electronics environment like a composing room in a major newspaper, everything was coax, everything was shielded, even the screens, and they were using at the time CRTs, were all protected, and Sweden was way ahead of the United States. But the attitude in America is we don't give a shit, pardon the expression, but that's exactly what the attitude. We saw that at North, and the Canadians were very concerned about that because those are the people that were monitoring the Russians.
Well, interestingly enough, the Canadian protected standard was only really megawatts was an hour, 9 million megawatts per year. So, and when we get through, we had a long evening, and we had a long evening, and so we'll break up and we can talk among ourselves, and you can ask questions if you'd like to. And we appreciate you all coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray.